What's good, listeners? Welcome to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Good morning, Marissa. How's it going, fam?
It is going fabulous.
Right? It's a beautiful day out. You know, the sun's out, we're live, and we just always love doing this at the top of the show because on this day, 50 years ago, the Queen of Halloween was born. Happy birthday to Wyoming Ryder. I know I can't wait to see her in season 4 of Stranger Things. And also, on this day, just 5 days after nearly 13 million shares of U.S. stock were sold in one day in 1929, an additional 16 million shares were sold this day, called Black Tuesday, further fueling the crisis known as the Great Depression. Hopefully, none of that kind of comes together here in 2021. But we got a great show for everybody out there because our guest on Just Talking is Luis Antonio Aldana, who just won Best Supporting Actor Next Generation Indie Film Awards for 2021 for his role in award-winning short film Acuitzeramo. And also, don't forget to check out our brand new podcast series, Off the Fret, featuring the Blowies as our inaugural guest. More music talk. All right, Marissa, it's time to rock and roll. All right, this is hashtag TLDR, too long don't read. Marissa and I, we did all the reading for you, so you didn't have to do it. Who knew? I almost did the wrong article. But hey, let's start it off with Article 1. I almost stole yours, Marissa. Funny enough. All right, so President Joe Biden and Special Climate Envoy John Kerry's upcoming trip to the UN Climate Change Conference in Scotland will test what this administration cares about more: lecturing Americans in front of world leaders or confronting the globe's most serious environmental problems. In an article from the New York Post titled, "Why Destroy Our Economy to Cut Emissions When China and India Are Spewing Away" by Eddie Scarry. It makes zero sense for Western nations to continue to squeeze their own economies and pay trillions to dramatically cut emissions while China and India spew away with abandon. Developed countries of the West have, for the most part, kept their carbon emissions stable or even lowered them going back to the 1970s despite population growth. Back in that decade, the United States puffed out between 4 to 5 billion tons of CO2 annually from burning fossil fuels and cement production, making us the world's biggest carbon generators. By the turn of the millennium in 2006, for the first time, China outpaced us, putting out 6.38 billion tons to our 6.05. And while the United States has trended downward each year since, India currently produces a little more than half of the CO2 that America does, but its output has only been growing whilst ours has been failing. And no matter how Democrats and liberals are intent on telling middle-class Americans to halt their air travel, pay $10 a gallon for gas, and light their homes with candles, even if it won't help with climate change, China and India puff away.
That was a weird delayed response. I was like, swish, swish, where are you?
You know, the world of virtual. We're in the meta. This is what Zuckerberg's been talking about this whole time. Who would have known?
The meta is glitching, so we need to get that fixed, right? So, but on for my article, because who knew that swiping right was killing our environment? Because that's right. In an article from BBC News titled, "Eco-Friendly Set. What is it and how does it impact on climate change?" by Harriet Orwell. The UN Population Fund estimates about 10 billion male latex condoms are manufactured each year, and most are disposed of in landfills. That's because most condoms are made from synthetic latex and use additives and chemicals, meaning they cannot be recycled. So our only environmentally friendly friend is that sheep lambskin condoms, or AKA raw dogging.
Yeah.
Except both don't prevent STDs. So, Chris, why have we not found a better and more practical way to combat plastic waste emission than telling people STDs are okay?
Yeah, I guess that's a really good point. And what I also found very hilarious in this BBC article is they were talking about how they want to produce vegan condoms. So now I have a reason for my girl to swallow. No pun intended. But also, maybe China.
Unless she's a vegan, because vegans don't swallow, baby.
Yeah, right, exactly. Maybe she just might chew around the broccoli. I don't know. But also. But let's just say, China, India, just like how I was speaking just now, they're not doing their job right now to combat, climate change. And maybe China's not in for this is because they're still on that one-child policy. And maybe if we had, better condoms to kind of suit the nature that we're living in today, maybe we might get a little better with the environment.
Well, all I know is, we try to combat the plastic straws. As we know, that has not made a dent into our
exactly.
climate change.
That's true.
But I feel like they keep focusing on just things that don't make any sense versus taking it serious. Like right now, Iceland has one of the only, and it's working amazing facility where it's actually drawing the CO2 out of the air, putting it into the ground, which will then make more minerals and rocks to be reused again. And it's only a 2-year process. And if we can have a few more of those around, that's going to take care of that. That's going to take away from all the...
well, I think you nailed it just right from the top. Plastic straws, how much has that really done for our climate change initiative? It's just like trying to tackle Trojan and say, just because your condoms are made out of fossil fuel or fossil oils, like, how is that even acceptable? I don't know. I guess vegan condoms are just going to have to be the new norm, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Get over it.
Well, I'd be interested to see how the vegan condoms work, and I definitely will be one of those that will grab one.
It's technically lambskin.
No, it's definitely not lambskin.
You can't eat the lambskin.
Maybe it'll be like the cups that you can buy that'll biodegrade in 8 months. But what if I don't know, some of the juices are too intense for it and it starts biodegrading as you're having sex?
That's true. It all got to start with the lube as well. That's got to be vegan friendly.
Well, do Mother Nature a favor and let's have more cunnilingus and blowjobs this Thanksgiving.
Amen. To show the world you're a good person and also to avoid getting canceled and having your life ruined by a Twitter mob, you need to get woke. In an article from the Babylon Bee titled, Our Brave New Progressive World from A to Woke by the Babylon Bee. In his Woke Instruction Manual, 1984, author George Orwell wrote about how important it is to control the dictionary. The one who controls the language controls the past, present, and future. To that end, the staff of satire site The Babylon Bee has put together a glossary of all the words you'll need to know if you want to sound smart while hanging out with your other woke friends. So we picked out a few of the terminology that's been popping up, like one, cisgender, an enlightened normie who identifies with their biological sex, or white-splaining, when white people try to explain to you the appeal of ranch dressing, Starbucks, and the Killers, which is so true, and victim, you, me, everyone except white people, and gender. How dare you? And yeah, there's so many other funny words out there, but Marissa, which one that kind of speaks out to you today that you think is more in line with our generation? I would have to say it's gender.
Well, I have to switch this over here so you can see my beautiful face too.
There we are.
So I know you only picked those on there, but I have to say the one that sparks to me that I had to bring up was cisgendered, hetero, patrionormative, white man spreading. That is my favorite one out of the Babylon.
So what's the terminology? Because that's quite the mouthful. That's like the new supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You know what I'm saying? So
the definition, according to this, would be Chris Collins.
Oh, explain more. Who knew that I was a poster child? No,
You're a poster child of cisgendered, hetero, patrionormative white man spreading. I guess you spread your legs because you have big balls. You're straight.
Yep.
You identify as a male, and you are a patriarch.
You
Almost.
know what? That actually probably falls better in line than my cisgender terminology that I have today. So I might have to reconsider my own terminology going forward. But if you need advice on how to choose your pronouns, blame everyone else for your problems, and show the world how virtuous you are with virtual signaling profile pictures and stunning and brave hashtags, pick up the Babylon Bee's new book out next week called The Babylon Bee Guide to Wokeness. What's good, listeners? Our guest on Just Talking is actor Luis Antonio Aldana to discuss his award-winning short film, Acuitzeramo, live on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. How's it going, fam? I know we're getting Luis in. You got your audio on. How you doing, fam?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hey, we're beautiful. I'm so glad that we get to all have us together, mashed in together. But before we begin, let's go ahead and play the teaser now, just so we can give the listening audience an insight about what Acuitzeramo's all about.
Okay, hold on. You always go so quickly when you do this.
Hey, you know how it is. But you know what I will say before you get it prepared.
Move that fast. But
what I will say before you get it all ready is this has been exactly a full year when we talked to Miguel Caballero about his successful film. That is the director of this piece. And the fact that we have Luis on with us almost exactly a year to the date is so insane. So if we got the teaser, let's showcase the CCS family what's good.
Ya falleció Roberto.
It seems spooky, but it's not spooky. And I know Luis is going to be able to explain that a lot more. But as I was just saying at the top of the show, we spoke with the director of the film, Miguel Angel Caballero, exactly a year ago from today. And what I told him before is this film is a conversation starter. And why is it important to create more identity in films?
Well, I mean, I just think, like you're saying, it's a conversation starter because the reality is, we don't really get to see the stories about, queer elders in rural, towns. It's just not something that you see regularly, and I think that's one of the things that made this piece so memorable, and sort of has had the journey that it has. Miguel is from that town. It was inspired by just his growing up in that town and seeing, single elders growing up, and being a curious child, asking about, what that was, and sort of being shushed really quickly. You know what I mean? Like, don't ask that question, stop staring, da da da. And really, it was only later in life that he thought, wait a second, like, what if? You know what I mean? All those older gentlemen and those older women that I saw, what if one or two of them had been, gay, had been queer? Let me explore that, and I think it's important to sort of, showcase and and shine light on things we don't rarely see. You know what I mean?
I think it's so true. And I know Marissa and I, we were captivated by your performance, including Sal Lopez, who plays a gay blue-collar worker from Mexico. And to me, both Mexican and United States individuals continue to closet their sexuality from the public and their families. Is that the overall message of this piece?
I think the overall message, I think, is just really about empathy. You know what I mean? It's really about getting rid of your sort of preconceived notions, and no spoilers, for people that haven't seen it.
Yeah, right.
but the movie sort of sets the tone in a very specific way. When my character is introduced, Anthony, you're not really sure where I stand in the whole scheme of things, in the sort of in the world of the narrative. But really, I think it's about empathy. It's about understanding someone else's story, and sort of being open to the lessons that come from that openness.
And I think that's a great point that you're referencing, because it's getting exactly to where I'm going to lead with you, because you are the actor, you are storytelling, and acting, to me, at its simplest, is the attempt to most accurately and authentically portray the experience of someone who is not you. And how would you describe your role as an actor?
I think, for me, it's very simple. We're storytellers, and Marissa, can chime in as well. It's a fundamentally collaborative process, filmmaking, and we're just one of the little, 100 notches that sort of, when they're glued together and where they're sewn together, that's what we do. I'm a storyteller. I'm an empathetic sort of storyteller. When I tap into whatever character that I'm exploring or playing, it's all about. And I keep on bringing up this word empathy, because it really is. I had a great teacher, Diana Castle, that sort of instilled that in me a few years back. That our process is an empathetic process, and when we make it about that empathy, not about ego, not trying to get this right, not trying to do this thing in a way that people expect it. But when you make it about empathy and really sort of about understanding someone's journey, someone's life, that's when you start tapping into those moments. We see it all the time when, great actors and actresses, when they're tapping into that truth, that empathetic truth, we're riveted. We can't look away. That's, those are the performances that stay with us forever.
And I think on top of that too, it's so much, the empathy has to be there, but also the job of an actor is to drive along the actions of the plot.
Yeah.
And versus getting lost in this, like, oh, look how much I'm feeling. Can't you see it in my eyes? And I really thought that, Luis, you did such an amazing job of doing that, working with someone like Sal Lopez, who is one of the greats out there right now, and is completely underlooked in just the overall
and that's it.
Hollywood part of it. And like I said, you drove the plot forward in a way that made me really invest in you. As a character next to someone like Sal Lopez, who automatically, I'm like, I know his work. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, oh my God.
And that's a good point.
Yes.
And that's a good point that both of you are bringing, because obviously this is the world that both of you are in. Obviously, Luis, you are a renowned actor, along with, Marissa. She's got her actress chops going on. But I do want to reference something that Miguel said the last time he was on the show. And he said that everything needs to be deconstructed. This is his words, not my words. Deconstructed. And over the years, I have confronted a range of opinions from straight and LGBT identified actors and directors about true vision on screen. And should actors truly be selected based on their personal identity and no other experience or talent? And the reason I bring this up is, for example, this morning we found out that Benedict Cumberbatch, he's under fire because he's about to be playing a gay character in a new film called The Power of the Dog, and the conversation once again surfaced. Should straight actors play queer roles? What's your thoughts on this, Luis?
I think it's you know, it's a timely topic. You know, I think we're going through a moment in our culture right now where it is about yes, it's about deconstructing. It's about representing truths. You know, I'm queer, I'm gay. I played Anthony, who also happens to be gay, but I don't, you know, for myself, I don't limit myself to sort of just because I am queer. You know, I wouldn't give myself that sort of limit that I would only play queer characters.
Yeah, because let me follow up with a quote that Benedict Cumberbatch even said moving forward. He said that, I also feel slightly like, is this a thing where our dance card has to be public? Do we have to explain all our private moments in our sexual history? I don't think so. And my first reaction when I heard that was, isn't that so true? I mean, no one flipped out when Robin Williams joined Nathan Lane in Birdcage. And that's one of the most iconic pieces of all times. So why is this becoming the new fad? I mean, we just saw even yesterday, season 18 of Grey's Anatomy, they're casting a non-binary actor to play a non-binary character. And I always feel like these kind of roles are now becoming, you have to be that person in real life to play that. You as an actor, do you feel like that's the new norm headed into the new decade?
I don't think so. I think we're experiencing sort of like, the pendulum. You know what I mean? We sort of existed over here for so long where, everything was heteronormative, white. So many stories and so many details weren't included, and so I think as this pendulum is swinging this other way now, we're gonna eventually get to a place where hopefully, it won't be an issue anymore. You know what I mean? It won't. I doubt that'll happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I think.
But I guess let me throw it like to you like this, because over time, I've found that playwrights and directors are subject to far less scrutiny than you, the actor. And I know we want to share this tweet with you, which was exactly a year ago from today. Oscar-nominated director Lulu Wang tweeted, "The belief that anybody can tell any story they want is why we have monuments of certain heroes in this country and not others. This isn't about race. It's about power and control. The person who talks the most and the loudest should not be the only voice we hear." So, Luis, do you think Lulu Wang has any ground to stand on by asserting that only a Chinese director can tell the pianist Wang Wang's story? This was a rebuttal against director Ron Howard, who I think has plenty of credentials to do any kind of storytelling he wants. Am I right?
I think. Look, I think it comes to this. For example, I'm Mexican, and so my roots are indigenous and European, so I'm this amalgamation of things that make us Mexicans, right? And so I always think about this. If ever I'm hoping this will happen at some point. If ever somebody were to tell the story, of for example the Aztec Empire, you know what I mean, like some sort of epic tale about that story that we haven't seen, you know what I mean, that hasn't sort of been made in a big way. I would hope that they would choose a director, or that the person helming was Mexican, ideally indigenous, that there was some sort of connection to that story. Not, and I don't know.
But it's interesting that you say that, though, because this is something that I've tackled with many directors and actors. It's like, but what's next if we follow that same standard? You can't do costume and hair unless you are also of that movie's cultural origin. Like, I can't do Wakanda if I'm the most, famed hairdresser.
Well, I also see what, on Luis, just real quickly, I think what you had hit on is the fact that someone has to have that connection to them. And the thing about Ron Howard is he was not surrounded by a bunch of white people trying to make a buck on the story like we saw with Mulan, right? Where it came in and it was like nobody of Chinese nationality, descent, anything culturally, to make sure that the story's being told. He brings in people to actually have that. And I think that's where you're also going to, is making sure who's in the room.
My concern is, like, let's say, for example, there's a Chinese native who specializes in U.S. presidents. So his knowledge doesn't matter because you're not born in America? You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think it's, and then, it brings to mind, I don't have children, does that mean I'll never be able to play
a father? Right.
And so but I think it's two different things. You know what I mean? It's about representation. It's about authenticity. It's about really deconstructing the way stories, films, and since we're talking about films have been told from a very specific perspective. Now opening it wide open, being more inclusive, and more sensitive to the realities and the nuances of certain stories. You know what I mean? I think it's more about that.
And I love the fact that we have a streaming platform now, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime is in there now. I mean, all that allows so many different stories and not high budget and have to have that I can now access and see a wider range. And I think that's really important in keeping that representation diverse and bringing in those other stories.
But I guess let's throw a curveball into this, because obviously we're talking about True Vision on screen, but we don't talk enough behind the screen, if you know what I'm saying. And I find it, obviously you've heard my opinion just now, and I kind of find it hypocritical of people advocating for the inclusion clause on film sets for, quote unquote, better representation behind the screen if they don't agree with the analogy of True Vision in front of the camera. So, and that's speaking from someone obviously who hates both ideas. But what is your thoughts on this? Because it's like you got people out there that are saying, we want the inclusion clause, we want equal representation behind the screen, but then get excited when Pedro Pascal gets casted as Joel in the new video game HBO series that's going to be dropping next year. I mean, that doesn't sound like very much equal representation in my opinion.
I just think it's you got to look at it historically. You can't all of a sudden just look at it now. You have to understand the sort of the history of why people are fighting for inclusion. You know what I mean? I shot a commercial a few months ago, and I walked on set, and this isn't, I'm not saying anything, just what I saw. I walked in on set, everyone's wearing masks because it's during COVID, and everyone on set, Chris, everyone on set, I would say 95% were white males on set. The director was Japanese, but everyone else, and I couldn't help but sort of know, like, wow, like everyone on here is a white dude. How interesting, you know what I mean? Like, and so then I think that's what people are talking about. The fact that was just one set, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that.
Right. But I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we obviously know that Hollywood film practice, it is very heavily white. I mean, that's definitely is kind of the industry today. And I think it definitely starts with the youth and upcoming screenwriters to bring more of that better representation. But the fact that we bring it into a clause is what I get nervous about. But I only got a few minutes with you, and I did want to bring this up with you because obviously currently we've seen classic superhero comic books being more focused on identity and less about action. I mean, between Tim Drake being confirmed as a bisexual in the recent Batman Urban Legends story, and now John Kent, Earth's new Superman and the son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, is bisexual. So now we kind of have DC Comics and Warner Brothers continuing to make their world as inclusive and diverse as the real world itself, which I think is great. But what happened to fighting crime? I mean, is this such a good idea to be deconstructing classic DC characters?
I think it's fun. It's trendy right now to sort of go in there and sort of shake things up, but
who are they making this for? Because I don't see too many young people reading comic books. They gotta be making it for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I think what's something that irks me, since we're talking, something irks you, like, I'll tell you what, this notion that we have to keep on rebooting old ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, speak more.
No, but you know what I'm saying, that
it's true.
That everything needs to be rebooted, and so now it'll be this, and the same storyline, different iterations of that same storyline. Like, I would love to see like new things.
It's true. How do we support the next up and coming great screenwriter with that brand new storytelling, with that representation? But all you want to do is tackle 1940s comic books such as Batman, and then, people forget Harley Quinn came out in 1999, okay? I'm just calling for new superheroes and new supervillains who aren't always white, okay?
You know what? I have a couple of friends that are sort of indie, sort of comic creators, and just know that what you're asking for is actually happening. We just need to, again, shine that light on those independent creators because it is happening.
That is amazing. And I did want to let everybody know that we have a major announcement. Acuitzeramo will be available to watch on HBO Max starting in the new year. So that is a huge, huge milestone in your career, my man.
Got to see it. That good.
Yeah, I didn't think about the story, but definitely go HBO Max. January 2022 is where we'll be streaming.
That's what's up. And for anybody who wants to see it now, can they see it now, or do they got to hold tight?
I think right now it's still finishing. It's doing some festivals in I think in Europe, a few sort of like the last remaining festivals. But I would just say
amazing
until January 2022.
All right, that's what's up. Luis, Antonio, Aldana, you have been amazing, my friend. Go and check out their award-winning short film, Acuitzeramo, next year, my friend, on HBO Max. Thank you again for joining the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Thanks, Luis. Ciao.
Bye-bye, guys.
Peace. All right, what's good, listeners? We're going to do something a little different today because we have a brand new music podcast coming out at the end of the month on Off the Fret. More music talk, and joining us for our second Off the Fret music podcast is Southampton, United Kingdom band Royals. And Marissa and I, we're excited because we get to finally share an exclusive clips of our interview with Royals. And the clip that you're about to see is Royals being asked the question, does the band rely heavily on streaming platforms as its top priority? Well, let's have a listen and see what they have to say. You know, you just referenced Spotify, Alex. So that's exactly where I'm about to go, especially when we're talking about this kind of industry talk, because there's no denying the mind-boggling amount of music being uploaded to streaming platforms such as Spotify. And I don't know if you guys know this, but over 60,000 tracks are uploaded every single day.
Wow.
60,000 tracks every single day. That's every 1.4 seconds. Or if I just farted during this interview, there was a brand new song that just came out.
Bro,
I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I hate fart anything. You have to throw it in there.
Exactly. And as we were just talking right now, a whole EP just dropped. I mean, that's insane. So I'm just saying, so like, does the band heavily rely on streaming platforms as its top priority? I mean, what do you guys think, Tom and Alex?
You have to these days, I think. Streaming's it's a blessing and a curse, like you say. You know, you're missing out on those days of seeing a video on MTV or something like that. But at the same time, you know, we don't have to stand outside a gig venue in the freezing cold handing out CDs like to get more listeners, because you can put music out there and someone halfway around the world might hear it and pick it up, and you can set up adverts to go to those. It's, yeah, you know, although you might not get as much money as you would from physical sales when you're a bigger artist, like all we really care about is the listeners. And if we can reach more ears by, you know, getting on Spotify playlists or, you know, just reaching a wider audience that way, then it has to be a priority.
Yeah, I think if something's big, it'll be silly to not try and be on it. You know what I mean? We'll try and be on anything.
Let me throw you this, because there is a quote that's not very popular, I would say, with musicians in your guys' world. And the CEO of David Icke said, "You can't record music once every 3 to 4 years, and that's not going to be enough." Do you guys agree with that statement? Do you think that, like, you have to record music every 3 or 4 years to be a successful artist today?
I feel like with us, I also think, especially when you're starting up as well, it's your new fans will want to hear what you're going to do next. So I personally think but you shouldn't obviously rush things. So I would just think that you should just try and make as much music as you can. I think, like, also as well, if you have loads of really good ideas in your brain, you can't be like, it's only been 3 or 4 years, so I've got to wait a little bit longer to record this, because it could be amazing. You know what I mean? It could be
right.
I think it's like, thing is, as soon as I get an idea and I'm like in the shops, I have to just run back home, get my guitar, film it straight away. Then as soon as I can get into my studio, then try and get it down and try and get to Luke straight away. You know what I mean? Like if I get an idea in my head, I wanted it to be like heard as soon as possible. I couldn't just like have that and
Right.
and force myself to wait so long just to record something. I think also as well, like there's no such thing as like too much music from one person. If you're making things and people really like it, I think just keep going.
And you know what's insane, listeners? Spotify now has 172 million paid subscribers and 381 million monthly active users, the company announced this week in its latest earnings release. And that's up from 165 million paid subscribers and 365 million monthly active users last quarter, with both figures up 19% year over year. And those are in line with what Spotify was expecting this quarter.
That's
and as much as I hate to admit it, Marissa, I think Alex and Tom have a point. I mean, bands must embrace music streaming services as the new medium. I mean, we always like to, put them up as like they are the devil horns, they're the ones that's completely rocking the boat. But I think with how this world is, especially with how COVID's treating every single up and coming artist, you gotta work with what you got. I mean, it's just like how Punk Rock Factory even told us, during the seasons. You gotta be very much active on social media. You gotta try new frontiers that you might not be comfortable with. I mean, we always joke about it behind the scenes, like TikTok. I don't get TikTok, but that's where the medium's at today. And you bet your ass that we will be better at TikTok moving forward. But that's just a lot of the things that I think you gotta just take the bull by the horns. And I know that Spotify, they can be such a pain in the ass, but you know what? I love the mindset that Royal has, because if they keep that up, they're going to be successful for the next decade and even more to come. And Marissa, let's show the CCS family what's good by playing Royal's music video, Gone, live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
How many times will you do me wrong before I leave you gone, gone, gone? I'm better off alone. Can you look me in the eyes and tell me that you really tried? I see your heart's leave you gone, gone, gone. How many times will you do me wrong before I leave you gone, gone, gone? Before I rise up like some broken promises were broken. Now you can just gone, 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 and I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone.
What's good, listeners? That was Royals, and that's their track Gone. You can find that on their EP, A Spark to Ignite. And we're going to do something a little different today because we have a brand new music podcast coming out at the end of the month on Off the Fret. More music talk. And joining us for our second Off the Fret music podcast is Royals from Southampton, UK. And Marissa and I are excited to share exclusive clips of our interview with Royals. And this clip that we're about to see with Royals is explaining the importance of music videos today. So if we're ready, fam, let's show them what's good. One of the biggest things that I love about you guys that I don't see too many artists doing today is you guys have a music video for every single song off the brand new EP. Even when for Fair Weather Friend that we just watched right now, that's a quarantine music video. But I thought you guys put a very fun spin to it because
I like the spa. You're sitting in the spa.
Right, yeah. But I guess my biggest beef with up and coming bands, I mean like the bands that are in their first 5 years, it's like when you don't put out music videos like this, how are the listening audience supposed to put a voice to that face? It's kind of like radio nowadays. I mean, the millennial audience wants to see video on air production. So was something very important in the early stage of Royals to like go, we want to do this. This is the way to go moving forward in the 21st century.
Do you want to take it? You were there at the start. I was going to say that it was definitely a conscious decision, like with the EP. I mean, we've thought of that consciously to be like, yes, each song needs it. I mean, the amount of content you get from a video is such value for money as well, because you've got behind the scenes clips, you can cut it up for any different platform, you can reuse it, repost it. But if you don't have any of that, there's nothing visual to go along with the song other than the artwork.
And I think as well, when it's an album, it's a bit different because you usually with an album, it's like the single releases are the ones that have got videos. But when it comes to an EP, because there's not many on there, if we were having to pick which ones get videos, we're technically picking which ones we think are best, which is a route that I wouldn't want to go down. I think if we're picking which ones are best, then technically the ones that aren't best shouldn't be on there because we don't feel like they're best. So the fact that we think that they're all worthy of being on there, we should all do their justice and do music videos for them all. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Because if you don't think the song is worth a video, then why is it even on your EP? Like that's the way I would look at things. Like every song should be worthy of a music video. Otherwise, why have it on?
I mean, I grew up in the glory days of like Headbangers Ball and, and the MTV when they actually used to play music videos. So like I cherish watching those kind of music videos today. I mean, do you feel like there is somewhat of a disconnection when it comes to, the listening audience and music videos when it comes to the Gen Zs?
I mean, it's for one, it's really funny because I usually only do YouTube when obviously I'm watching stuff on my big TV, but like obviously if I'm out and about, if I'm driving, obviously I'm always going to play Spotify. So like I kind of at first was kind of when we first started doing this, I was thinking like, do we need to do a music video for everything? But as I've kind of like in a few years down the line got sort of more into like how all of this works, I just realized how kind of like important it is. Also as well, you got to think of it like a massive CV. Like, if you're trying to promote yourself by sending your stuff out to everyone, you don't really want to like send just like a Spotify link. They probably want to see you as well. So yep. I think music videos is the best representation of like when you're trying to send stuff out to people as well.
Hey, up-and-coming artist, did you hear the man? I think he's got such a great point. People want to put a voice to that face, and it's so much better than sending off a Spotify link when you can actually send a visual representation of yourself. And what better way to celebrate Royals and our upcoming release of Off the Fret, more music talk, than to play Royals music video, Worldwide Catastrophe, live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Take a walk out on the streets and tell me what you see. The selfish greed, the apathy, a living catastrophe. Everybody wants to preach, but nobody wants to change. How did we get here in the first place? We've been broken for so long. Tell me where it all went wrong. All it takes is a spark to ignite. There's got to be a better way than just to watch the world go down in flames. We could be the tidal wave. Can we right the wrongs we made and shine the light that leads the way? Will we pay for our mistakes and wash away the pain? Did we ever live in harmony? A time that we were welcoming your company. As we struggle to belong, how can we be strong? The only thing to pull me through is the fire in my heart and these pictures of you. Were we born to follow or made to lead? I'm not going down easy. There's got to be a better way than just to watch the world go down in flames. We could be the tidal wave. Can we right the wrongs we made and shine the light that leads the way? Will we pay for our mistakes and wash away the pain? Hold on tight, we will weather the storm. The darkest time comes before the dawn. We won't be defeated, the hopeless mistreated. Stand up and fight for what you love. There's got to be a better way than just to watch the world go down in flames. There's got to be a better way than just to watch the world go down in flames. We could be the tidal wave. Can we right the wrongs we made and shine the light that leads the way? Will we pay for our mistakes and wash away the pain?
That's what's good. That is Royals, and that's their track Worldwide Catastrophe on their EP, A Spark to Ignite. And we're doing something a little different today because we have a brand new music podcast coming out at the end of the month on Off the Fret. More music talk, and joining us as our second guest is this band that we're featuring right now, sharing these exclusive clips, and that is Southampton, UK boys, Royals. And what's so fascinating about this Off the Fret is we break down every single track on A Spark to Ignite, and one of the coolest things that we were lucky to discuss with them was they gave us an early listen, which is now out now on every streaming service, but the Royals let us in on their brand new pop punk cover of the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber song Stay. Like I said, out now on all streaming services. But you're in for a treat because I'm going to showcase a little bit of some of the conversations that we had discussing why the band wanted to do this song. So Marissa, let's roll the clip. We're kind of speaking to the future. That's what we're doing right now. But we appreciate you guys letting us get a little early inside scoop into a brand new cover song that you guys just did. And what you know, this was kind of an interesting song that you guys chose, because I know that in your guys' band's portfolio, this is not the first time you guys have explored doing cover tracks. And why did you guys feel it was important to do a pop rendition of Stay?
So I remember getting the message from Luke that kind of, well, not started all this, but when it first came to his mind, but he messaged me like, have you heard this song? I was like, no, I haven't. And he was just like, do you even know like the Kid Laroi or whatever? And at the time I didn't, and we looked at the Spotify numbers together, and I was like, what the hell, this song's crazy. Listen to it, and it was really good, but we're just listening to it like, I just want a bit more drums, I just want a bit, it's like, we should cover this. And then it just like it was just a decision there that we then just were like, right, let's get this out, let's get it done like ASAP. And
that's what I like about it. I mean, as a cover, you're not a karaoke style of it. You actually made it the Royals. Like if I would have heard your song before Kid Laroi's, I actually would have thought Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber would have covered you guys, because it really, like, you really did make it your own.
No, I think that's a great point, Marissa. And I think it speaks volumes when Royals continue to do cover songs, because some of the greatest rock bands of all time, such as the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Metallica, to name a few, during their early stage of their career, have all covered iconic tracks during their time. But why was it important for the band to cover this song? What about you, Alex? How did it speak to you? Were you not vibing with it? I mean, you were like, man, I grew up in the whole heavy rock scene. I mean, you know, I guess I can put my twist to it.
no, honestly, like there's been times where I've listened to Justin Bieber stuff, but I think it's just, you know, in terms of, it's like a few things it needs to fall into. One, it needs to be like a big song anyway, which it is, so that's already ticked off. Two, it needs to be catchy and good, because, like, you know, you got to think we're putting like a whole new array of instruments on it, so it does still need to be catchy if it's pop punk as well. I just think it's quite a transferable song. You could probably make it jazz and it will still be good. You know, it's like it's just catchy the way it is. So
I've seen that going around on TikTok. You know, people are playing this song and just going, what the hell, it goes with anything.
Yeah, like a saxophone player, and you're like, how's it just like killing it?
Yeah.
The world of TikTok, right? But hey, Tom, I mean, do you think it's important for these up and coming artists today to embrace doing more cover songs?
I think so, and I think if you do it in the right way, with the right manner, with the idea behind it, then they're really beneficial for you, because, you know, you'll get listeners who have heard the original song and then they discover your song by searching for it again, maybe, or maybe it's just someone like us who listened to it and was like, oh, this would be really good if it was rock, let's see if one exists. And that's where smaller band can benefit from it, because you put it out there, people are like, oh, I wonder if it does exist, and then they're searching for something cover, you're gonna come up. And, you know, if you want to play them live, then, you know, you've got a chance that people might know the words if they don't know you, and they might be like, oh, that was that band that did that. I wonder if they've got their own stuff. So I think it's good to do them. You don't want to fall into a category of being a covers band by doing them constantly. And I think it's important that you continue to put most of your energy in your own music, but I think they can be really beneficial and a lot of fun if you do them right. So
absolutely. You know what this sounds like? This should be the opening track to like Pop Goes Punk. You remember those iconic records they used to drop like a decade ago, and like every kid would like race to Warped Tour, like wanting to know those tracks because they know their favorite artist is about to play it on the main stage. You're like, come on. But we all know Alex was probably wanting to cover Baby by Justin Bieber. It's okay, you know, at least it's okay.
I did say to Luke, why not that one?
Yeah, why not Baby? But hey, at least there's some middle ground when it comes to Royals. Oh, that cracks me up every time. Thank God the band's got some middle ground, and we're gonna show you guys their cover song of Stay right now on the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show. So let's get it going.
Drunk initial touch. You're the reason I believe in love. It's been difficult for me to trust, and I'm afraid that I'ma fuck it up. Ain't no way that I can leave you stranded, 'cause you ain't never left me empty-handed. And you know that I can't live without you. So baby, say I told you that I never would. I told you I'd change, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I'll do the same thing. I told you that I never would. I told you I'd change, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay.
Oh my land. So that is, I love that song, honestly, a lot more than Kid Leroy's and Justin Bieber's take. Just saying, that's just me. But hey, you know.
I love Kid Leroy a lot, but I love the Stays rendition.
Right. I thought it was super.
I love Kid Leroy, so I can't take that away from him. You know what I mean? 'Cause it is, but like.
I guess that's true. That's true. Maybe I'll be a little biased.
The boys, they got an amazing sound with it. Like I said, I would have thought that it was their song first.
It's so true. And obviously you can see between Marissa and I bouncing together just now, like we cannot contain our excitement enough. And keep a lookout for a brand new music podcast coming out during the first week in November on Off the Fret. More music talk with special guest Royals. Stick around. More left on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. All right, this is what's good because there's so much negativity on channels 2 through 11. So Marissa and I, we like to break the mold and let you guys know what's good. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, whom Mike Evans mistakenly gave the ball thrown during Tom Brady's 600th touchdown pass, has gotten the full details of the trade that the organization made for the piece of memorabilia. So we want to show you this graphic artwork because the Buccaneers are giving Brian Kennedy 2 signed jerseys, a helmet from Brady, a signed Evans jersey, and game-used cleats, $1,000 worth of team store credit, and 2 season tickets for the rest of 2021 season and of all of 2022 season. And also, I thought this was fascinating. This would jive Marissa more than anything. Tom Brady is chipping in by gifting Kennedy 1 full Bitcoin valued at just under $63,000. That's pretty insane. And I know celebrity couple Tom Brady and Giselle have an equity stake in crypto firm FTX. So we'll see what's up. I know some people were like, man, that was a terrible trade. Why would you get rid of it? The 600th ball was going to be worth $900,000. You don't think that maybe, Tom Brady maybe put him the big
Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
You think the Bitcoin's going to be worth more than the ball?
Yeah.
Damn, you got a lot more high hopes than I do. But then again, if Giselle and Tom Brady are all in with this crypto firm, I mean, we even saw Saquon Barkley, we reported a couple months ago, said, don't pay me any more bonuses without being paid in crypto, which I thought was kind of strange. I mean, we know, I'm blanking out on the top of my head, but there was also a Jaguars player who also wanted to be paid in Bitcoin. I know Trevor Lawrence, the main star at Jaguars facility, he wants to get paid in Bitcoin, or at least works for, a firm. So, hey, I guess we'll see what's up. But not to mention, like Marissa said, it could be the Bitcoin that could ravish up more in the future. But Bitcoin has rallied more than 1,000% from its low in March 2020. So who knows what the value of Brady's gift will be by the end of the season. But I thought that was really, really cool because they didn't really have to do all of that. But the fact that they did, that tells you something special about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady himself. But we wanted to give another shout out again to our amazing Just Talking guest. That is Luis Antonio Aldana. He is the actor in Acuitzeramo. It's an award-winning piece. I mean, it's blowing up like crazy. You can watch it in the new year on HBO Max. And also, we got to let people know what's good. Who's our guest for next week, right, Marissa? I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Who is our guest for next week? I know, but do you know?
Do I know? I think I know. I think I can let the people know what's good. Our Striker Chord guest is Kid Dad. They are a German indie rock band to talk about their upcoming EP, Bloom. And also, don't forget to check out our brand new podcast series, Off the Fret, featuring the Blowies as our inaugural guest. More music talk. And if you like what you're listening to, go to thechriscollinsshow.com and become a member today and get that free CCS t-shirt. For now, enjoy the weekend, fam, and we will see you next week. Peace! The Chris Collins Show presents Music Storm 2021, hosted by Chris Collins and Marissa Pitts, featuring Tiana Kutcher, Some Daggers Wear Red, Desmond Walker, Doulos, Saturn Till June, YT Will,
it feels good to be the bad guy. Walk these shoes, you'll see why. Look at things from both sides, ain't nothing like the
EC Main,
one thug, Lord, show a little mercy on one thug.
The Phoenix Within,
There's more weight in my words than you give me.
Chloe Wilder, Jonas and I, Kane, and Animal Sun.
So tell me how do you see reasons to carry on?
Music Storm 2021, available on YouTube Live. Peace! Our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat. Hello.
You look
Can you
so
hear me?
jazzy. I love your outfit. How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? Everything is everything, and I guarantee you're gonna hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So, if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
Has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you. And you know what? I love it. Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.